Hi everybody, I'm Tania Shipman, and tonight I'm not going to be talking about business automation or how you can improve your life or all sorts of things like that, and this is going to be controversial. So if you don't want to hear about it or don't want to think about it, then don't follow it. But if you actually care about people being treated equally, then please keep on watching. So there's been a phenomenon going around in Facebook and Twitter about #MeToo. And it talks about people who are saying, if you've ever felt sexually harassed, say me too. And I originally said in a reply on Barbling's post that I didn't feel that I had been, because I haven't been raped, I haven't been attacked, I've never been hit by a man. But then I realized as I was reading more and more posts that there are things that are not as bad as that, and I know that they're not as bad as that, but they are something that, as a woman, I live with every day. If I'm out late at night and I see men walking towards me, I either walk faster, I make sure that there's light around or there's other people around, or I try and get to my car or even pull my keys out and have them between my hands. That's something that I have to do because I can't trust that I will get safely to my car. Now, that's not to say that I fear traveling. I traveled across America. I was on both sides of the continent. I was out at night. I was driving around. I was visiting people. But it was something that I had to be aware of at all times. And that's what #MeToo is bringing to light for men and for women, for those who say, I've never felt sexually harassed. And as I said, I originally thought that I didn't qualify because I had never gone through what I know some of my friends have gone through, which are absolutely horrifying things. But I still am aware that I have been told, as the lowest paid person here, meaning female, that, you should be the one who does everything that's around the place. Now, that's not sexual harassment, but that's feminism and equality and the fact that I'm not treated as an equal in a workplace. Sexual harassment is incredibly scary. It's incredibly something that we have to be aware of at all times. And yes, men can definitely be sexually harassed, and children are often sexually harassed. The current #MeToo tag that's going around is about women identifying it so that men can see how many women are brave enough to put their hands up and say that it was happened to me. And there are equally as many women who will never do it because Facebook land and Twitter land, it's a real profile and you're admitting to everybody that it's happened to you. And that's a very scary thing to do because, of course, then you start being judged. And there was a TED talk that I saw on Facebook where it's, thanks, Larry. And you may have led a sheltered life. And there are many women who have led sheltered life and have no idea what it's like. But there's a difference between being unable to empathize with somebody and just being able to sympathize. Either one means that you can at least consider what would it feel like if it happened to me. Another theme that I saw said, imagine for every man that anything that you said to a woman, was told to you in a men's prison. And then it starts getting a little bit scary. And then it starts being something that you can apply to yourself. And the theme that I was talking about in the TED Talk was that it's about women who are being sexually harassed and not the men who sexually harass. It's about women who have domestic violence against them. No, it's women who are being bashed, whether it's by a man or by a woman, or it's a woman bashing a man. It's still violence. It's still actual assault, but it's treated and downplayed by calling it domestic violence. It's the same with sexual harassment. Often sexual harassment is not sexual harassment. It's straight out assault. It's rape, or it's holding somebody against their will. If you did it to a man as a man, you could end up in jail. When it's with a woman, but she was wearing the wrong clothes. She was asking for it. She was drunk. She was whatever it might be. You often see comments when a man is being accused of a sexual assault. Well, for 20 minutes, his life is going to be ruined. But what about for the woman who is going to live with that for the rest of her life? There's often this double standard that exists. And when we raise it with people, when we mention it to anybody, there's always, but somebody else hasn't done it. And I'm watching in the US, you still end up in jail, but Gareth, a lot of times women don't even report that they've been sexually assaulted or even that they've been sexually harassed because of that same, oh, well, you must have asked for it. You must have done something to make him do something to you. And whether you did or you didn't, the other person could have said, no, I know, the majority of the men I know, I would have no doubts, no fears of staying in their house, visiting with them, going out for drinks, walking to my car with them, because they're decent human beings. Same as I tried to be a decent human being. By putting it back onto the person who's the victim, people are claiming that it's their fault in some way. As I said in the TED Talk, it was, the woman was harassed. No, a man harassed her, or even a woman harassed her, because, yes, all sexes, male and female, transgender, all of the LGBTIQ out there can be harassed by another person. But what often gets done is that it's your word against his. And we now have several instances where you have presidents, both Republican and Democratic. You've got Bill Clinton and you've got Donald Trump, who have been accused of being sexual predators. You've got Harvey, whatever his name is, who is also being accused. And there's always excuses for them. Let's stop with the excuses. Let's start saying, how do we stop this from happening? It's the same as bullying. Anything where you do not treat another person as an equal, who can say yes or no, who can have a choice about what happens to them. All of that is putting the rest of us down. It's causing issues for the rest of us because, as I said, I can't walk down a dark street at night. And as a kid, I have really good night vision. I have excellent night vision. And as a kid, I used to wander all over the streets at night. My parents would be horrified. My mum was probably going to give me a call asking about this. But I'd get up at night and be walking around the streets at 9, 10 o'clock at night and have no worries. I was in the US. As I said, I traveled solo across the US, both sides of the continent, and I had very few fears except one night when I came home and there was 3 young men standing near the entrance, not too far away, but it was in a darker area. And they did nothing. They weren't drunk. They weren't loud. They weren't anything. They were just 3 men standing near a car. And I drove around the car park 4 times trying to find somewhere where I wouldn't have to pass them to get back into my hotel. I shouldn't have to have that fear. I should have been able to walk up to them and say, hey, guys, how are you? What are you up to? But I couldn't. I didn't. I didn't have that faith and that trust. It all starts with each of us. If you see somebody doing something, yes, exactly. Larry was just saying in my comments about how parents are warning their children, warning their daughters, don't go out wearing revealing clothes, don't get drunk, don't do something. But it comes back to the person who did it to them. If I'm lying drunk, half-dressed, out the front of my house, I should have somebody help me into the house and go, are you okay? Not worry about what somebody will do to me. And it doesn't matter what you look like or not. They've, again, on Facebook, they had that people who've been sexually harassed, assaulted or raped, wearing long sleeve jumpers and long pants. They weren't wearing anything revealing. It wasn't what the woman did or the man who was assaulted. It was the person who assaulted them. They're the ones at fault. And we continually seem to be putting it that it's the other person's fault. Hillary Clinton has been accused of enabling Bill Clinton. Well, Melania must be enabling Donald Trump. And Harry Weinberg, is that his name? Harvey Weinberg, his wife left him. Now, part of the reason she may have left him was that she has a very strong female audience and realized that if she wanted to continue having a brand, she had to do something. She may have left him because she was genuinely disgusted with him. She may have left him because she'd actually been a party to it and finally realized that it was too much. And it could be 100 other different reasons. Same as we see bullying and walk away. Same as we see people lying on the ground, sick and injured, and walk away. Same as we see people being harassed at work or sexually harassed, and we walk away. We're the ones who are leaving it to happen. And yes, Gareth, there are bad people in the world, but there are a lot of people who don't take action or who excuse the people who did it. People excused Bill Clinton. Oh, you know, he never got charged. When Donald Trump grabbed him by the pussy, a video came out. He passed it off as, what do you call it? Locker room talk. This man then went on to become the president of the United States. Harvey Weinberg, yep. Everybody said it was an open secret. I was just watching a thing where Courtney Love in 2005 said, don't be in a hotel room with him alone. And everybody just laughed it off. Jokes were made about it in 30 Rock, which has been off for years. It just keeps on happening. So we have to keep on bringing it to people's views and talking about it. And yes, I know that they're a knob. And Gareth, if you're absolutely paralytic, off your face, lying in the street, you're putting yourself in danger. Agreed. You put yourself in danger. But should you have to worry that somebody will come up and kick you in the balls? Would you like to know that that's a possibility? And it may be a possibility, especially living where you live, depending on where you live. But the fact of the matter is that you're a stupid person who did something silly if you got that way. But let's say rather than you were the one who decided to get drunk, you've had medication and it's knocked you out. And I don't know about you, but I've had some medication recently that within 20 minutes of taking it, I'm out for the count. So if I think I've got half an hour to get home and I fall asleep, am I asking to be raped or assaulted or hit or kicked or done any of those things too? Being a better person starts with all of us saying it's a bad thing. It's an open secret that, you know, politicians who say abortion is bad then tell their mistresses to go and have an abortion because they don't want to have a baby. You have ministers who stand up in church and say, you know, premarital sex is bad. You must love your wife. You must do all those sorts of things. And they've got mistresses and everything on the side. And everybody knows about it, but nobody brings it up. In today's society, when we can bring these things up, something has to be done. Something has to stop. Many things that were considered normal have stopped happening. One of the things that's considered normal that a woman or a man asks to be assaulted because of their actions has to stop. It has to be, hey, how can I help you? Not, well, she asked for it. Because nobody asks to be assaulted. Doesn't matter what you've done. Nobody asks for it. Yes, I agree. Okay. And Gareth, I understand exactly what you're saying in that people have to be sensible. But what becomes sensible? Is it because I'm wearing, I don't know, a short shirt and shorts that I'm asking for something to happen to me? No, the person who does it to me has chosen to do something because of the way I'm dressed, the way that I talk, the way that I speak, the way that I drink. You know, I have many friends who get very, very drunk. I have many friends who like going out partying. But does that mean that anybody who comes up and sees them is entitled to hit them or kick them or hurt them? No, it doesn't. Your actions are the ones that should be on. You should be always thinking about, am I doing the wrong thing? And when you see somebody doing the wrong thing, do something about it. That man in, I think it was California, who dragged a drunk girl behind a dumpster and was assaulting her, and two bike riders saw him and stopped him. The arguments for his parents were that why should his life be ruined for 20 minutes of silliness? And I know silliness wasn't the word, but that was the impression, that it wasn't that important, that he shouldn't be held responsible for what he did. And that's where the words have to be. You have to be responsible for what you do. Our serial assaulters, sexual predators like Trump and Clinton and Harvey Weinberg, and there would be hundreds that anybody could name if they sat down and do it. These are the ones who are currently in the paper, in the news. they get away with it because people won't speak up. So people need to start speaking up, and people need to start saying, this is wrong. And this is what #MeToo is sort of implying and saying, is that this has happened to me and it shouldn't have. As I said, nothing like what many of my friends has happened to me. But I can remember as a young girl, when I was a teenager, somebody trying to kiss me and I didn't want him to. And when I didn't want him to, I was sort of like, oh, look, he's all right, give him a kiss. But I didn't want to, and I didn't. And then I was classed as somebody who, is not part of the fun crowd. But again, that was many, many years ago, and things are changing, but they're not changing fast enough. And we have to stop saying, oh, yeah, that's just the way it is. No, it's not. Not everybody will be able to change. Not everybody can change, but everybody has to be encouraged. Not made, because I'm against that. It's got to be your choice, but you've got to realize that there are consequences to what you do. And at the moment, the consequences are, if you sexually assault a woman, half the time, actually it's more than that, it's something like 80 or 90% of women don't even report that they've had it happen, because the amount of effort to get somebody charged for that is just beyond belief. If we can invent so many things, why can't we invent better lie detectors? Why can't we have it agreed that if she said, he said something, well, let's get them on a polygraph of some sort. There are ways that we can make things happen for the better. There are ways that we can stop putting down people. I've seen comments where, well, she did ask for it, No, she didn't. I don't know about you, but I don't think I'd walk up to anybody and go, hey, I'm a bit bored tonight. Could you please rape me? Nobody's going to ask that. I'm sure any man out there is not going to be saying to a mate, hey, look, I'm a little bit bored. Can you knock me down, kick me in the guts and breaks every bone in my body? Because that just sounds like a good thing for you to do. Could you do that for me? All of these sorts of things are because people have made the choice to hurt somebody else. And it gets classed and waxed over with domestic violence and sexual assault and sexual harassment, and that all of it is violence against people. Mental violence, physical violence, emotional violence. All of that has to be looked at. And if you see it happening, you have to say this is wrong, and you have to speak up. A little bit more controversial, a little bit more of my own personal beliefs in this video. And it needs to be said. It needs to be done. And if this causes people to not think that I'm a person that they want to listen to or follow, that's your choice, because I'm not going to change the way that I am, and I'm not going to keep calling out for justice and for fairness and to do the right thing. And as I said, it's about choices. My choices, what I want to do with my body, what I want to do with my life, and encourage other people to be able to do what they want to do. Don't force your beliefs or your ideas or your requirements on them. There is a need for a common good, and that's something that we run into all the time. What is the common good? But I cannot believe that violence against men, women, or children is for the common good. And sexual assault, harassment, physical violence, domestic violence, all of that cannot be part of the common good. So speak up, speak out, and say to people, I'm going to try and do something to help. Thanks, Gareth. I knew that. As I said, the people I know who watch my videos, I know are decent people. And you're not really the people who need to be hearing this. But maybe you know somebody who does do that. The number of times you hear, oh, yes, yeah, we all knew that he was beating his wife. Okay, so why didn't you ever report it to the police? Didn't want to get involved. You're at work and you see that somebody's being bullied and you just go, yeah, well, she won't do anything about it. And there may be a reason why she can't. She maybe can't give up her job, or he can't give up his job, so he has to put up with whatever's done. But if people speak up against it, then it gets noticed. You can write anonymously. At least something can be investigated. We are all fearful. We're all worried about consequences. And we're all worried about our choices. But things like sexual assault, physical violence, domestic violence, anything like that, we need to speak up and say, this is wrong and it shouldn't happen anymore. Thank you very much for listening to my video today. And for any of those who are watching in the comments, afterwards, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. But speak up, say something and say, hey, this is wrong. This has to stop. Thank you all. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, everybody.